Beat Making Basics.
What's going on YouTube? Beat Making Basics back again with another dope video. If you're new to my channel, please do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe as well as give me a thumbs up on the video. It definitely helps out the channel as well as the content. But without further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. Basically what I wanted to do was cover some mixing tips and tricks. Also, some things that you could do as far as breaking rules when it comes to mixing, but still getting the same result. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover. Now, the first thing here that I'm going to talk about is pre-mixing. Okay, so mixing while actually making your beat. What I've found is this is a huge tip. You could actually start mixing while making the beat, and I found that sometimes that mix ends up being the mix that sounds the best a lot of times, like when you're getting your levels and stuff like that. So that's one tip that you could keep in mind is while you're making your beat, go ahead and, mess around with the levels and stuff like that. Since you're not actually dragging in vocals and different things like that, you could kind of get away with actually going ahead and getting some basic levels and adding certain, plugins and stuff like that to get your beats fairly mixed right in one swoop. So that's one tip I'm going to give you. Now, along with that tip, I'm going to go ahead and give you a rule that you can break, okay, but it's not always recommended. Now, normally when you're mixing your music, you're going to want to go ahead and export everything, your whole session, as audio files. So you will come over here, highlight everything, and then go ahead and export it as audio. So you can do Command E, and you would export it as audio. Now you do want to do that, but you don't always have to do that in order to mix your beats. Okay, some people don't even do that. Some people just take the session right here as it is and go ahead and get to mixing it. Now, I'll tell you why you will want to, export your files as audio and then drag them into a new session, and why you necessarily don't have to. First of all, the reason why you would want to go ahead and export your files as audio and then bring them to a new session is to help out your computer. When it comes to processing audio and processing MIDI files and different things like that, having all these different plugins on the different tracks can slow down your computer. So by going ahead and putting your tracks into a fixed format, which would be audio, it definitely helps out when it comes to your processing power. So the exception to that rule is if you look over here on your tracks, right, and you're starting to notice like, man, I don't really have a whole lot of effects on here, then you might be able to go ahead and get away with doing certain basics when it comes to mixing your beats without having to export it as audio. So I know that breaks a major rule, but is this the truth? Okay, so like for instance, I believe that when it comes to mixing, less is more. Okay, and this is just from years and years and years of practice and years of trial and error. Okay, when I first started mixing my music, man, I didn't really know what to do. I knew that, you had to EQ your music. I knew you had to add compressors. I knew you had to add certain things, but I didn't know when to add them, and I didn't know how to add them. So finding that keeping things simple actually helps the mixing process a whole lot more. So for instance, let's go ahead and jump into it. Like how and when to add certain things. Like for instance, you're EQing, you're definitely going to be taking some or subtracting some of the signals, like some of the low end signals on certain instruments to compensate for the low end signals on other instruments. So like for instance, an 808, it's going to have certain frequencies on the frequency chart that are going to range within this area right here. So negative or 20 hertz all the way to maybe like 200 hertz. That's where your 808s live. So by going on other tracks like your snare or different stuff, and then literally just coming over here and taking out at least, for the most part, everything below 200, you're going to actually create a lot of space in the EQing sphere of things, right? for that 808 to come and punch through in the mix, and vice versa, maybe even like a bass guitar or certain other instruments. So those are things that you're gonna for sure do on each track, and sometimes you might take more outside of the 200 hertz. Okay, but you want to be using your ears when you're doing these things, because you can easily just come around here and just try to, use that little basic rule here, and then you'll notice that some things don't necessarily sound right. But you can start off when it comes to EQing, doing that, and it's going to help out a lot. I know also when it comes to the kick, a tip when it comes to mixing is maybe even just rolling off just maybe everything below 30 hertz kind of can make your kick drum mesh well. And these are just things that I've noticed when it comes to mixing my beats. I'm sure there's other things you could do, whatever. Next thing here is when it comes to compressor. Like, I don't put compressors on everything, okay? Matter of fact, I literally try to stay away from using compressors and achieve what a compressor does through leveling, okay? I know a lot of people like to talk about gain staging when it comes to leveling and different things like that, and you want to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of transition into leveling as well on this beat, because this beat is pretty much already mixed. This might be coming over here and putting these EQs on here. I'm just going to listen to the beat real quick, and you'll see like there's a difference. All right, so just listening to this, I mean, like usually that like compressor is used to boost the signal or make something sound a little more full. But when it comes to like getting the levels and everything like that, I find that everything sounds like it's smacking. It sounds like it needs to, based on the sound selection. So like the type of drum sounds that I'm using. These are professional drum sounds that I've paid money for. This is Bricks the Main's drum kit. You know what I mean? I might also use something that comes from like my own personal stash of sounds. You know what I mean? From like say my Next Level drum kit. This sounds, you want to use sounds that are professional sounding, and that's going to help you from having to like boost your kicks and snares and stuff like that. So that's one tip as well. And then I find that you really don't have to use it that much, man. So less is more. Last mixing tip I'm going to go ahead and cover is a tip I've been introducing to the channel over the last maybe month or two, and that's actually to use Smack Attack plugin on the stereo out. I have found that when it comes to your beats knocking and things like that and sounding real thorough, and at least in Logic Pro 10, sometimes when you put other plugins on your stereo out, yeah, it will make sure that it's loud, but it will take away the punch from a lot of your kick drums and snares and stuff like that. It won't smack as hard. But with this Smack Attack plugin on there, if you turn this guard to clip, it's gonna make sure it stops the tracks from going into the red, but you could still get a good, nice punch. You can still hear all the punch in your mix in Logic Pro 10. Okay, so these are just some things I'm just wanted to cover on this. Just to go over these things again. You want to make sure that you less is more. So you only want to affect your track as needed. You know what I mean? Obviously, things like leveling is going to be something that you 100% have to do on every instrument sound. Things like EQing, I would also say that's 100% something that you would put on each instrument. But things like reverb, things like compressor, compression, those are things that are going to be maybes. You don't necessarily always have to use a compressor or a reverb in your tracks. If you notice on my tracks here, you don't see any reverb plugins, and it's not because I didn't add reverb. It's because actually the reverb plugin was like say within another plugin. So I got Murder Melodies plugin. I went over here and I added this ice icy reverb instead of actually putting it in there. And actually using these third-party plugins helps with the CPU power. But again, doing that, keeping things simple. Of course, you want to pan things left or right. You know what I mean? And two, another tip we talked about is just the whole aspect of maybe, not always having to export your tracks as audio files before you mix, just to mix it, especially if you don't have a whole lot going on as far as plug-in wise here. If you do have a lot of plugins on the track, I would go ahead and export as audio files and then mix that because it's going to slow down your computer. Another thing I talked about on here or this video is using the SMAC attack on the stereo out. Subscribe to my channel for more tips like these when it comes to mixing, making beats, creating melodies, drum patterns, different things like that. That's all going to be covered here in Beat Making Basics. And the cool thing about this channel is we do focus primarily on GarageBand and Logic Pro 10, which is a very needed, channel, because there's a lot of channels on FL Studios, like FL Studio and Ableton and different things like that. These are like main DAWs that everybody likes to do tutorials on. But here at this channel, we're focused on Logic Pro 10. So like if you're a Logic Pro 10 user, this is your home. And last thing I'm going to talk about before we end this video is the site, beatmakingbasics.com. Okay, I do want to preference that. Sometimes people, they're very cool with just coming to YouTube and learning. But if you want to like literally take it to another level and get everything in a curriculum-based experience, where you have everything structured and organized, kind of has a flow to it. You don't want to have to jump around to different videos and stuff like that. You can go to my site, beatmakingbasics.com, download the courses. They're instant downloads. Just pay a small fee. You can grab full video courses. I'm talking about 4, 5, 6 hour courses on different topics when it comes to making beats. Topics like, how to make beats in Logic Pro 10, how to make beats in GarageBand, how to mix your music, how to, make better chords and scales and melodies and different things of that nature, drum patterns. All that's on the site. We also have different sound kits, and we're going to be adding more as the months continue as well. And another very big announcement is that we are doing a 100K subscriber giveaway. What that is going to entitle is this: on our journey to 100,000 subscribers, which we want to reach this goal by the end of this year, we are going to be giving away some cool prizes. Okay, just going to give you a brief rundown of some of these prizes. We're talking about giving away headphones, okay, some studio grade A headphones, MIDI keyboards, okay, computers, or at least, I'm not gonna say computers, but a computer. I'm talking about like a legit Apple MacBook Pro. We're gonna give that away at some point once we reach a certain milestone. Studio monitors. We're gonna give away some dope studio monitors. I actually want to give away like an iced out chain that's like a music related chain. Get an iced out chain that you can wear or you can sell or whatever, however you want to do it. But I'm going to be doing that at a certain milestone. And then like one of the ultimate gifts is going to be a brand new studio. We're going to give somebody at 100,000 subscribers a brand new recording studio. How do you get entered to win these different prizes at these different milestones? All you have to do is go to beatmakingbasics.com and go to 100K giveaway. Okay, so you go there, make sure you're subscribed obviously to the channel, but then you have to download the 100K subscriber bundle pack. All right, so what is that going to include? Basically, it's going to first off give you entry into the giveaway. Okay, I'm not going to give away any of the different prizes to anyone who does not have this pack downloaded. Okay, and what the pack is going to include is a lot of different like sounds, whether they be drum sounds or melodies from different products that are on beatmakingbasics.com, as well as several tutorials from a lot of the courses that you're going to get. So seriously, it's going to be well worth it. Even if you don't win, you'll still get a a super good value because I'm throwing in a lot of different cool goodies just for downloading the pack. So you can get a double whammy. Okay, you'll get this pack with like basically a little sample pack of all of the different stuff that we have on the site. Plus, on top of that, you're gonna go ahead and get entry into the giveaway. Okay. Anyway, don't want to talk your ear off too long. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get the 100K giveaway. Make sure you download some courses and sound packs. And I'll see you in the next lecture.